Good morning. As the English Literature Librarian at Virginia, I try to promote awareness and use of resources like ECCO, EBO, and early American imprints, and I provide instruction in using them to students, both in group tutorials for specific classes and one-on-one. And I should say that the course-related tutorials seem to be just as useful for instructors as they are for students. Routinely, faculty members will come up and say, I had no idea this resource existed or that you could find that in this database. So that's always gratifying as well. There's no question that ECCO and similar archives have revolutionized research in a number of disciplines. Their strengths are well known and I'm sure will be mentioned by others in their talks. Accessibility, comprehensiveness, convenience, searchability, their ability to break down the borders of canon and discipline. They also make it possible for students to engage at a deep level with primary materials and to make new discoveries at a fairly early stage of their academic careers. So that's all wonderful, but what are some of the issues of concern? No librarian can discuss resources like these without talking about cost. Roy Rosenzweig has noted that the astronomical price tag for these resources really threatens to create a new digital divide between the scholars who have access to them and the scholars who don't. And one of the ironies at UVA is that as we look for money to purchase more digital archives like these, we've canceled a lot of microfilm, including early English books and the 18th century, which are the sets from which EBO and ECCO were created. So this has created an access problem for us as new items are added to the English short title catalog, and microfilm for the 18th century, scholars are asking for them, and it turns out that we don't have the microfilm. Other libraries have done the same thing, so it's hard to interlibrary loan them, and this is a serious problem for us that we hope will be remedied by a second release of ECCO with this missing material. Reliability is an issue of concern. Can materials in these digital archives be used as authoritative scholarly evidence? A librarian at the University of Saskatchewan has written an interesting article about the layers of remediation in EBO and ECCO, which have gone from print to microfilm to digital surrogates to transcriptions of those surrogates in the case of the texts that have been encoded as part of the TCP project. Imperfections and variations are introduced at every stage of this evolution, yet one often assumes that digital images are perfectly faithful surrogates of the physical works that they represent. Another aspect of the reliability issue is the limitations of keyword searching. Because you don't see the sort of flawed OCR text behind the images in ECCO, it gives the impression that its keyword searching is comprehensive and authoritative, when in fact it is limited. ECCO's search capability is good enough for many purposes, but it is not precise or complete. Faculty and grad students tend to have a good awareness of the limitations of these tools and sort of use them with a healthy skepticism, but undergrads are much more likely to sort of take what they see at face value and not realize the limitations. So in some ways, vast digital archives promote a superficial engagement with the text they contain. Their reliance on keyword searching to mine the vast quantities of text can lead to a decontextualized, fragmentary experience of the text. And there's also the distancing effect of reading on screen. When I worked at Virginia's Electronic Tech Center, we ran a project where we distributed handheld computers to students in particular courses, loaded with their course materials, and sort of studied how they interacted with that. And one of the things we found is that students do read differently on a screen than they do in print. They skim, they browse, they search, they navigate backwards and forwards, but they don't engage immersively and read immersively as they do with print. I think a lot of people sort of know that intuitively. So my job, or part of my job, is to educate students about the capabilities and also the limitations of these resources, and to provide some guidance for navigating their vastness and using them intelligently. Increasingly, I find myself working in tandem with our special collections librarians, presenting the digitized texts in EBO and ECCO alongside examples of the physical objects from which they were derived. This helps students reconnect the disembodied digital text with the book as a physical object, and also gives an opportunity to talk about this remediation and how the digital and physical objects might differ. We find that exposure to digital surrogates, contrary to some predictions, leads students to be increasingly interested in the physical objects and increases activity in our special collections library. Instruction in using particular tools like ECCO doesn't really stick until it is reinforced with a targeted assignment, a task or project that requires students to utilize a tool toward a particular end. Many of the undergraduate courses I work with now have some sort of research project that requires the students to find and analyze primary documents that contextualize the works of literature that they study, documents related to the politics, art, music, fashion, food, social customs, whatever of the period. These assignments offer a great opportunity for faculty and librarians to collaborate in teaching students how to conduct effective and informed research using ECCO and similar resources. So I see the student interaction with resources like these evolving in stages. The first stage is access. Students learn that they can access 500 editions of Robinson Crusoe while sitting in their dorm room in their pajamas. They learn how to print, to download, to find known works using either the database search or the library's online catalog. The second stage is discovery, where they use advanced metadata or keyword searches to find texts that are odd, rare, interesting, extra-canonical, and begin to make connections across disciplines. And then stage 3 involves contextualization, deep reading, and theoretical engagement with a cluster of texts. And I'm very interested in hearing what others have to say about what they've done to foster that kind of deep engagement with these resources.